man, what a night. It's always fun when you're going to go live and it says, your data storage is maxed out. Well, why don't you tell me that before I go live, software? So I had to go in and delete a whole bunch of stuff. But hey, he's Dave, I'm Chuck, and we are here. It's Wednesday, and this is Football and Beer. That is why we're here. We talk NFL football. We put in our picks against the spread each week, and we keep track. And Dave is, as we get into it, had should feel good this week. So with his picks, and we will get into all of that fun stuff. Before we get into that, I just wanted to kind of, and we do NFL, but I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit of college football. As everyone knows, Dave and I are Oregon Duck fans, and just took in a game a few weeks ago here in Arizona. Unfortunately, our Ducks could not swing it against Washington, and my wife and I were out on a date, going to the theater, the Broadway kind of theater thing, and I kept trying to look, during the play and get an update on the score, and I was like, oh man. And I got excited when we finally took the lead in the fourth quarter, but we couldn't hang on to it. So, any thoughts on the game, or what Oregon? I mean, it's going to be a whole new look next year, right? I mean, because they finished, I think they're in eighth, right? So they would be in the playoffs next year.
Sure.
But still, they could be number two, number three right now in the nation had they won the game. I mean, what do you think is what's the next step for the program in Eugene there?
Well, during this game against Washington, we just didn't get enough stops early when we needed to. We really, the defense just couldn't get enough stops early in that first half. We had a great third quarter, great comeback, and really moving forward, it's who's going to be our quarterback. I mean, we have Bo Nix. He won the Campbell Award tonight, for best college, offensive back. So he won that tonight, and so basically we're losing almost a collegiate Hall of Famer. I mean, he has the all-time record for most starts for a college quarterback in college football history.
Well, he is like a 7-year player.
Yeah. So that's big shoes to fill. He's going to be drafted next year and be 3 years older than some of the guys that have already played a couple seasons in the league. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be quarterback. Who's going to come up and replace him? We have Thompson that's been sitting behind him for a couple years. He was a high recruit. We'll see if he gets his chance. Of course, transfer portal is so popular now that I've seen
Right.
a kid from Oklahoma that might come. There's the kid from Washington State might transfer down. There's,
Yeah.
I think, another kid from UCLA that's transferring out that was interested in Oregon maybe. So, who's going to be our quarterback? I think we're probably good on the defensive front. We're good at receiver. We're good at running back. We're just who's going to lead the team at quarterback is going to be the biggest thing going into next year. But with landing, recruiting is going to be good. So I'm not really worried about that. But, who's going to take over at quarterback?
Yeah, and it's going to be I think the competition level is going to be a lot different next year. And, within conference, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it'll be interesting to see what the schedule looks like next year for all the teams. I mean, we're kind of seeing these kind of two super divisions or whatnot and conferences, and it's just going to be kind of interesting to see what that looks like for college football next year. This has been debated, for all week, but do you think FSU should have been selected?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I know
Over
they didn't.
Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, I know they didn't look wonderful, but they're undefeated, and they're one of the only few teams that were undefeated. I know their quarterback got hurt, but how is a kid behind him supposed to make a name for himself if you don't give him the opportunity? And what does it say to everyone else on the team?
Yeah.
Your position isn't as important. I mean,
That's right.
who knows? Their defense could go in and hold a team to a low scoring game and give them an opportunity to win a game. Football's a funny game. Not every game is high scoring. Some games are 10-13. You don't know what's going to happen any given game. So I think it was just kind of a slap into the face to the coaching staff, to the other kids on the team. If the real reason was, well, they were losing their backup quarterback and their offense didn't look as good as it should. Well, how good is anything supposed to look? I mean, they won.
Right.
They won every single game. And for the past decade since they've had this college playoff thing, undefeated is definitely good enough to get you into the playoffs, especially when there's teams in the playoffs that have lost. There's two of them, two teams that have a loss.
Yeah.
They didn't have one, so they should be third. You know, they should be right there with the undefeated teams. Because I saw Washington and they can put up a lot of points and stuff, but they also give up a ton of points.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you want a team to lose with a bad offense and a low scoring game or a shootout? Like, if you're going to lose, you're going to lose either way. So what does it matter? You can't stop anybody. Is that any better? Just because you can score points, but you also allow 50 points? I don't know. I just think if you won every game, you should get in. You shouldn't be able to just say, well, because this quarterback's or their offense hasn't looked
Yeah.
as good. Who cares? They won. Yeah, I saw the Chargers win 6-0 in the NFL, the National Football League.
It's an
There's
ugly, ugly win.
potentially the greatest coach ever, who we'll talk about in a minute when we get to our hot seat. I will, but what the greatest coach ever couldn't score any points in a game last week.
Right.
So it was 6-0. So that just shows you, it doesn't matter. Football, the games can go a lot of different ways, and if you win every game, you should get in.
Yeah, I've been on X commenting all week, since it was announced, and I knew immediately that once Alabama won, they were going to find a way to get Alabama in the top four in the playoff. And my two thoughts on it, yeah, FSU should have been in there. If you thought that FSU wasn't the same team, then you should have ranked them lower weeks before, a week ahead. You should have dropped them out of said, oh, other teams look better, even though they're winning, they should, because I think if you ranked them four and then you pull them out, for the college football, I just think that's just a really bad look. Plus, you look back at, what is it, 13, 14, Ohio State, they ran against Oregon with the third string quarterback and beat Oregon and in the national championship. So, it's not to say that you can't do something with a third string quarterback, because you got tons of other guys on that team that deserve an opportunity. And that, I think it's just a slap in the face of the program. There's a lot of hubbub that they should boycott the Orange Bowl or whichever one it is, and just not play. But yeah, it sucks. But you know what? Next year we'll be looking at 12 teams, and it's a much easier argument when you're looking down of who's going to be in 12. Who's at 13, 14, 15, because you're looking at teams that have one or two losses. And I will say I think Oregon was the highest ranked one loss team. No. But still, good year for the Ducks, and I think Lanning.
Oh yeah.
I think it's going to be a good program, but my only concern is they can't win the big games. They've just been rocking and rolling up until the Pac-12 championship, and Washington's been struggling each week, and that's why Ducks were 9.5 point favorites going into that game, and everyone thought the Ducks were going to roll. And it was, the Ducks were barely in it, the whole night. So, but yeah, I think they're playing really great up front on both sides, and I think that's a testament to the Dan Lanning program. And so yeah, we'll see if they. I think they'll probably find a quarterback in the transfer protocol, unless this kid that they've got now enrolled is just a phenomenal. So, hey, but we are football and beer, and Dave's already is enjoying his beer, and so we highlight a beer each week. So, what you got on tap tonight, Dave?
So I'm definitely going Christmas theme, holiday season, and I grabbed me a Deschutes Brewing. See if I can get it in here. This light, Jubile Cherries Jubile Ale. It's Deschutes is in Bend, Oregon, so very appropriate for the holidays since that's where my stepson will be this year. That's where his dad lives, is in the Bend, Oregon area, in Redmond, Oregon, very close to Bend. Um, and it also caught my eye because one thing I used to always get my dad for Christmas was some of those Queen Anne's chocolate covered cherries. So
That's right.
cherries have always been a part kind of our family tradition to have some chocolate covered cherries around during the holidays. And so this cherries jubilee is a barrel aged imperial winter warmer. It says with added cherries and vanilla bean. It is a 10.2%. So this isn't just your dessert beer here. This has got some potentness to it, and see if this will work again. Maybe not. It is very dark beer. So, cheers. What do you got on tap?
Tonight, I didn't even actually have a chance to look this up. I was at Total Wine and More looking for a holiday beer. This time of year is when I'm like, oh yes, I can go for the porters and the stouts and get my, you know. But there are so many out there now between the porter. It's everything is like s'mores and chocolate this and all that, and I'm like, what happened to just a good imperial stout? You know, or oatmeal. It's just they're harder to find now that I haven't had on the show before. So I ended up still going with Kentucky Bourbon Barrel. Oh, why isn't the focus working? Bourbon Barrel. Oh, where'd my
There you
focus?
go.
What have my focus? Usually it's supposed to. Oh, now I'm gonna freeze. So uh,
It's a strong beer.
there we go. Anyway, uh, but it does have cocoa in it. I actually had to look this up, but it's brewed with cocoa nibs, 100% barrel age. They just came out with it this year, and it is 8% ABV, and I haven't even tried it yet. So this is my first sip. As you can see, that's a nice dark flavor. Yeah, it does. It has a strong cocoa flavor. Not a huge fan of that, but it's just hard to find a porter or stout now that isn't candied up. In the store. I guess it's the only way they can get the younger generation to drink up. So Nathan was saying that he's sipping some hot cocoa with some peppermint schnapps. Yeah, Uncle Bear's. There are a lot of the chocolate, of course, but the peanut butter. I think there's a lot of peanut butter porters out there that have just kind of taken on what Belching Beaver did. I think Belching Beaver started this whole thing years ago with their peanut butter stout, which I actually enjoy. I'm not a big peanut butter beer kind of guy, but I really do enjoy it. But thanks for joining the show, Nathan. Thanks, Ron, for checking in. Always nice to have you, but thanks for watching the show, Ron, up there in Idaho. Must be cold up there now. It was freezing here today. I think it got up to like 81, and so it's it's been a little bit nippy here during the day. Only 81. No, today was a super warm day. It's going to be back in the 60s and 40s at night soon. So, but 40s, you're probably not even seeing 40 in the day. So, Kim, thanks for joining the show, and so let's talk a little bit of football. So, um, let's get in and talk a little bit about what we thought of the games last week, and who was your offensive player of the week in the NFL last week?
Oh man, well I'm repping all over the screen with my guy this week. Debo Samuel. I mean, this guy's been solid, but he hasn't had a ton of big plays yet. This season really, he's kind of had some good games, but not super consistent every game. Had two receiving touchdowns this week and a rushing touchdown, so three touchdowns for him. He had over 100 yards received. He did bust a big one. That helped his yards, but three touchdowns on the day, so he was definitely my offensive player of the week. And he had talked so much smack before the game that he needed to back it up, and he sure did. So
Awesome. Hey, well, let's just go into your defensive player of the week. I don't have an offensive defensive player um, for this week, so I see your defensive player is. Go ahead.
yeah, just a guy that did everything for his team this week in a win, which they almost blew to the worst team in the league. But Antonio Winfield Jr., he had a sack, an interception. He led his team in tackles during the game. Also had the most pass deflections with three. So, I mean, he just kind of did everything for the team, did a little bit of everything, and they got that win. Barely. That game was just, I couldn't believe watching the end of that. They almost let Carolina back into that game though, and lost to the worst team in the league. But they did pull it out.
Yeah, we both ended up and with the same game of the week. I thought the Texans and the Broncos were the for me the best game of the week, and I just I it was what I liked about it is that the Broncos have been playing extremely well with their won 5 games in a row or 4 games in a row ahead of this. Don't know where those victories came from, but they're happening, and so they had a lot of momentum coming into this, and so I thought it was a great test for the Texans to be able to play hard and scrape this out.
Yeah, when I was watching it, so on our picks when we went through them last week, I knew you were going to take Houston. I knew that Denver had won their last 5 games. I knew that they had the least amount of turnovers in the NFL during that 5 game span. And so I thought, oh, maybe I can catch one up on Chuck. Maybe, Houston's very good, but they're not amazing. They're not, one of the top few teams in the league. So I thought, well, maybe they're on a roll. Russell and John Payton got something going, and they had it. I mean, the spread was 3, and I
Yeah.
think they ended up losing by 5, and they had 3 chances from the 12-yard line to score a touchdown at the end of the game that would have put them in the lead, potentially won the game for them. And, Russell just throws a terrible interception in the back of the end zone, just kind of lobbed one up with the safety standing right there for easy interception. And yeah, I was watching while it was happening live, and I was like, first down, all right, here we go. Russell's going to do it for me. I'm going to get this pick. And then, 3 straight terrible plays, and he throws that interception. I was like, you got to
Yes.
be kidding me, man. I was like, you had it right there. I picked you guys. I hate you guys. I hate Broncos. And I was like, and I picked you, and I thought you were going to help me out. He couldn't get it done. So, but good for Houston. I really like Houston this year. I'm kind of rooting for
Yeah.
them. It's like an underdog in that AFC.
Right.
Once the playoff starts, the Stroud's a stud. The defense plays hard. The coach, is into it, and everyone's all in on that Houston team. So, I'm kind of a little bit rooting for them to maybe make a upset in the first round of the playoffs. They get in there.
Yeah, I was almost picked the Cardinals Steelers game as my game of the week just because I thought the Cardinals defense played really well. I mean, to shut them down at the 1 yard line on a first and goal, fourth and goal, they held the Steelers and then they marched down 99 yards to score a touchdown. John Connor had James Conner had 2 touchdowns, against his old team, and that was kind of fun, even with the weather breaks that they had throughout the day. But that was going to be my. But I really liked how close and how the Texans, just kind of gritted their teeth and got down the trenches and won this game. And so I just like what they're doing there. So now on to one of my favorite portions of the show is the coaching hot seat. And so you kind of already started to mention who's your coach that's sitting in the hot seat this week?
Yeah, I kind of saw it all over social media, and it's kind of a joke because he's going to leave when he says he's going to leave. I don't think Kraft's ever going to fire him. But Belichick at this point, he's just got to wonder, like, can I get guys all in anymore? And I know he doesn't have a very good quarterback situation, but he drafted Mac Jones. Let there be no doubts about it. He picks the players he wants on his team. He asked for this kid, and this kid's no good. And now this Zappy guy that they have in coming behind him, he's not any good either.
Right.
So, I mean, do you give him time to take another rookie quarterback since you're going to have one of the highest picks in the draft and there's going to be 3 to 4 very good quarterbacks that he could probably select? But I mean, you're not scoring any points like we were talking about earlier. I mean, 0. I took the Chargers defense in my fantasy league going into that game knowing the Patriots weren't going to score hardly any points. I just knew it. And the Chargers, I mean, they haven't consistently been even a great defense this year.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're facing the Cowboys or the Browns or, some major defense like that. It's a good it's has talent, but it hasn't been a great defense. But they shut them out.
Yeah.
And they haven't scored points the last 3 games, really. I mean, I think they've lost the last 3 games and only allowed like each team to only score 13 or less a game. So they're not even scoring 17 points or a game or anything. So I don't know. I know he'll have the choice when he can walk away, but I feel like it's just he's got to put himself on the hot seat right now and think, what am I
Yeah.
doing? Like, I mean, if you're waiting to retire until you're a winner again, I don't know if he has that much time left. I mean, how long is it going to take for him to rebuild that team back to, some winning ways for New England? It's definitely going to take a new quarterback. It's, going to take more talent on that team. They don't have anyone that you would pay to go see. I mean, no one wanted Ezekiel Elliott in their backfield after he left the Cowboys. They
Right.
took him, and he's on the field a lot, and he's not doing very much. So it's like there's backups on other teams that would easily start, I believe, on the Patriots if they were on that team.
Right. Yeah, I think I had Bill Belichick last week. I wanted to change it up. I actually chose someone who won this week, and that is in the same game, Brandon Staley, because you scored 6 points against the Patriots.
Yeah,
It was you have been absolutely struggling all year, and just you. It's been a shit show in L.A. for the Chargers this year, and it's just you had a great opportunity to really go in and make a statement, and you win 6-0. Just with the talent they have, this is a coaching thing. You've got the talent, and you're not using it correctly. So for me, Staley's on the hot seat. I think in saying that, I think maybe Kim was kind of going with the Stanley or Staley maybe.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's gonna kind of sit on my hot seat because I took the Patriots this last week, thinking that the Chargers will find a way to lose this game, and yeah, you're right. I think he needs to go. The experiment's over because you can't waste the talent that you have in Herbert and Mac. Against along the defense, you've got fantastic talent, and soon the team's just gonna start giving up on Staley. So, yeah. So anyway, love that portion of the show. So we want to go ahead and get into our picks of the week. But first, let's go ahead and recap kind of where we were. You sent me our scores from this last week. I went back and did the tally from Thanksgiving week, and it looks like we tied. We both were
Yeah,
10
we
and
did.
6. Okay, good. Yay, I did it right. So I went ahead and added that in here as well. But you did win this week. You had 7 wins to my 6 wins. And congratulations on, as you can see down here, your second week win of the season. We have tied 4 weeks this season. I've got 6 wins. Overall, I've got 97 wins to your 91. But this is the time of year that you start picking it up. And so I think with this win week, you're starting your roll, man. And yeah, so you just got to keep that going. Dicker the kicker rocks. So, all right. So let's get into our picks for the week. We got 15 games on the docket. I think we got 2 Monday night games this week. So let's start at the same time. All right, who we got first? So tomorrow night. Hey, we were just talking about the Patriots and the Steelers, 2 teams that do not want to win right now. The Steelers are without their. I don't know if Pickett's going to be playing this week or not. He's out with the ankle injury, and
Yeah.
so the Steelers are still favored at home by 6 points. I don't know who's going to win this game, but I think 6 points is a. I mean, I have more faith in the Chargers offense, and the Chargers only scored 6 points.
Yeah.
How do you think? I have to take the Patriots here because this game is going to be closer. It's got to be closer. Gosh darn it. Bill Belichick, do not let me down this week, because I think these are without. I mean, you had Trubisky come in and it didn't look. I mean, guys, it's like, hey, it's a second chance, man. You know, and he didn't look good. Um, but yeah, I got to take the Patriots.
All right, just because I want to try to pick up more games on you, and they're at home, is the only reason I'm picking the Steelers. Because I don't believe in Mitchell Trubisky, but almost what I believe in less right now is Bill Belichick and his New England Patriots. 6 is a lot for a team with a backup quarterback. This must just be again going with the Steelers' defense, the poor quarterback play, and the poor offense that the Patriots have. This is telling me Vegas thinks that the defense is probably going to score a touchdown for the Steelers or create a turnover or such good field position for their offense that Trubisky's not going to have to do a lot. He does have two pretty good running backs with Harris and Warren, so if they can get the run game going and make this a physical game, which I'm sure it's not going to be the best weather in the world in Pittsburgh in middle of December now or early December, so this could just be a real physical game, and if it stays like that, then I think maybe the Steelers have a shot with their defense and their run game to pull off this 6 at home against an awful Patriot team who might be tanking currently at the moment, trying to get a higher draft pick to get one of those quarterbacks.
And you just mentioned the weather, and I remembered. Oh, last year I had the weather report for each of the games that as we get into December. So, according to the forecast, it's expected to be 39 with 0% chance of any type of precipitation there.
Just cold.
Just cold, kind of like it is everywhere except Arizona. All right, so getting into the Sunday games, we got the Bucks and the Falcons. I think I was kind of going through it. There's a lot of games this year or this week that are fairly evenly matched,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of tough. It's gonna be tough to pick. But who you got here?
Man, this is a hard one. I really wanted to pick the Bucks earlier, but then I started talking myself out of it in my head when I started talking about how poorly they did against the worst team in the league, Carolina, and almost blew that at the end. If it wasn't for Mike Evans catching about 5,000 passes last week for Baker Mayfield and keeping them in the game offensively, I don't know what the Bucks would have done. The Falcons aren't world burners, but they are at home. It is only that home kind of field goal area-ish range of a spread. Both of these teams need to win to have a chance to win this division. It looks like right now, if I look at my notes here, we got Atlanta's leading the division by a game over Tampa Bay and New Orleans. So they really need this game at home. So I'm going to take them at home, the Falcons, just because they really need it. Tampa, like I said, other than Mike Evans, didn't impress me at all against the worst team in the league. And, Falcons can get a 2-game lead up on them in the division with only, 4 left after next week. So I think the Falcons need and can pull this off at home.
Yeah, I'm going with the road team here. I'm going to take the Bucks on the road, and I know they struggled last week, but they do play better than that, and maybe they just kind of went into that game and with Carolina, just with a bad mindset. So, but yeah, I'm gonna take the Bucks on the road. Kim's got the Falcons, so it's always easy to take, or not easy. It's always good to take the home team, especially when you have evenly matched teams. All right, continuing on Sunday games, the Lions are going to go visit the Bears, and the Lions are favored 3.5 on the road. This will be a no-brainer for me. I'm going to take the Dan Campbell Detroit Lions by 3.5 against the Bears this weekend, and it's going to be 35 with a 22% chance of precipitation there in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of crazy that it's only 3.5. I know they played kind of a close game when they played in Detroit. David Montgomery, who used to be a Bear, had got a touchdown in that game, at least one. So I think going back into Chicago, he's going to want to do even better. I think I actually got this game on FanDuel on Monday, and it was only 3 points, so it went up a half point
Mm.
so far since the week. But I looked at injuries; there isn't any major injuries for the Lions. Bears are coming off of a bye, so they're rested. But who cares? They're kind of terrible. So I really don't know why this game's only 3.5, but I'm glad it is because I think that's an easy pick for me and you to win this week. Maybe the easiest, if I have to be honest, on the whole list.
Right. Yeah. No. Probably. I mean, that should be a walk in the park for the Lions. But that's why they play the games. Uh, Colts Bengals. Colts are on the road. Colts are favored by a point, and it will be rainy. 41 degrees with a 79% chance of rain there in Cincinnati. So, who you got here?
Browning came in and played really well for the Bengals for, being the backup. And I thought he did a good job. He won the game and he had some really good plays. He had some good throws, had a bomb down to Chase, on a one-on-one on the left-hand side of the field, and that was really good. But that being said, I think the Colts defense is better. They got more in the defensive backfield. You got Buckner up front putting pressure on him. Colts have a good run game still, even though Taylor's out. Moss can do some things. And then you got the gamer back there, Minshew. You got the Coug back there, just keeps winning ball games and making plays and throwing it to Pittman and just finding the right guy at the right time, just enough to win games. And since it's only 1 point, I'm going to take the Colts. I'm going to take Minshew and that defense to hold off the Bengals at home.
Yeah, I got the Colts as well. I thought there was some times in the game last week that Minshew did not look good. I think he threw an interception. Didn't look right, but they put up the points and I mean, yeah, they both scored over 30 points last week, and one against the Colts were against the Titans, yes, and so I mean, the Titans shouldn't. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going with the Colts as well. The Bengals just aren't the same team. They weren't the same. They really weren't the same team. Before Burrow went down, they were starting to pick it back up before his injury. But yeah, I just don't have faith in the Bengals right now. And the Colts are playing better ball, even though they will be outside this week and not inside their dome, and it'll be rainy. So, but hey, Minshew's from Washington, so he knows all about the rain and the weather. So, alrighty, now we got the Jags, who had that tough loss this last week, playing the Browns. Jaguars going on the road. Browns are favored at home by the traditional 3 points, and yeah, you know what? I got to go with the Jaguars here. Started to say the Browns, but I meant the Jaguars. I'm going to take the Jaguars on the road just because consistently throughout this year they've just been playing better football.
All right. I'm going to go with the Browns at home. I think their defense is good. You got C.J. Beathard playing for the Jaguars since Trevor Lawrence is out. He got that high ankle sprain last week, and I just don't think Beathard is going to be good enough. Flacco came out. That's a name that people haven't heard for a long time, and he actually didn't do terrible. Wasn't bad, wasn't good, just kind of average. Played the percentage game, good easy passes. He didn't force a whole lot. Also didn't get much down the field, but he did just enough to keep them in the game. And I think at home with the defense against, like I said, C.J. Beathard, I think the Browns will win this game. If it was Trevor Lawrence, I would take the Jaguars in a heartbeat. But I just think their defense will be good enough to stop Beathard when the Cleveland's at home this week. And it's only 3, so.
So just to let you know, I didn't know Trevor wasn't playing.
Yeah, he's not playing if you would like to change your pick. He had a high ankle sprain.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Browns.
Yeah.
Even though the Browns have been giving up points, I mean they gave up 29 to the Broncos and 36 to the Rams. That has some concern, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Flacco there in Cleveland and his revival, I suppose. Thank you for that. All right, next game on the docket is Panthers and Saints. Saints are at home in the dome and favored by 5.5 points. Panthers played well this week, but they're still the Panthers, and I don't know whose pick it was first. I'm taking the Saints. I'll go first. I'm taking the Saints at home with the 5.5 points.
Yeah, Carr's going to be out, and so you're going to have famous Jameis playing for the Saints, which I don't
Yeah.
think is a bad thing because
No.
he doesn't care. He's going to throw it down the field. He's going to try to make plays. They're at home. Plus, you got to think they need to win this game and win good because the other teams in the division are playing each other too. So that Tampa Bay game against Atlanta, if Tampa Bay can beat Atlanta, and the Saints should beat the Panthers, now we have a three-way tie in that division to win that division with 4 games left. So Saints really need to position themselves. No matter who wins that other game in their division, they need to win this game, winnable game, to stay eligible because none of those teams are going to get a wild card. Someone could win this division with a losing record.
Yeah.
So none of them are going to get a wild card. You're going to have to win this division. So this is a big game for the Saints to stay in contention to win that division and go to the playoffs.
Yeah. Don't know what I was going to say there, but yeah, this is, I mean, yeah, I have nothing to add to that. All right, next game up. Texans are going on the road to play the Jets. Texans are favored by 5.5 on the road. Who you got here?
Oh yeah, I'm taking the Texans. So that quarterback Boyle that played for the Jets terribly last week, and then he got yanked. He got cut already this week. He got let go, and they brought Rippon off the practice squad of the Seahawks into the Jets. So it's just a offensive quarterback mess there.
Yeah.
I bet Aaron Rodgers could go in and not even drop back and throw left-handed and play better than these backups that they have. He wouldn't even have to worry about his Achilles. I don't even think he'd have to move. He could just stand in shotgun and hand the ball off, or just rip it from there, and probably play better than what they got. I mean, they're firing guys in the middle of the season that just started a game for them, so they don't know what they're doing, and they're pretty much done. And Texans are rolling, so I'm definitely taking the Texans.
Yeah, that's for me. That was a no-brainer. I'm taking the Texans, and took them last week, squeaked one out, so they'll go in and hopefully have a nice big game here. C.J. Stroud hopefully will have a nice big game here, and they'll walk out of here definitely with a win this weekend. All righty, Ravens. Rams are going to go to Baltimore to play the Ravens. Ravens are favored at home by 7. I have no problem here taking the Ravens. The Rams are just up and down. I know they dropped 36 on the Browns or whatever it was. I think that was an outlier because, I mean, I'm taking the Ravens. Taking the Ravens at home. So I'm trying to look and see what that was last week. They dropped to 36, but week before was, they've actually scored a lot. Well, they played the Cardinals. Damn Cardinals. Anyway, taking the Ravens at home by 7.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Ravens too. The Rams have looked all right this year, inconsistent, but some games have looked all right. I'm pretty sure in this game against the Ravens, Aaron Donald's not playing, so Lamar Jackson doesn't have that pressure coming right at him up the middle, and he's got time and can run around and not worry about maybe the best defensive player in the league coming after him. He's just going to have a field day with that Rams defense. So their defense is solid too. So I have no problem taking the Ravens at home by a touchdown.
Yeah. All right, so the Vikings and the Raiders. The Vikings starting to show a little bit of chinks in the armor there, but still being competitive without Kirk Cousins, which they shouldn't have had anyway at the beginning of the year. But I'm not the coach. So the Vikings are favored on the road by 3 going to Las Vegas. Who you got here?
Man, this is a tough one. Vikings are okay. They're okay. I mean, they're okay, 6-6, but the Raiders are only like 5-7. They're not awful, and they're at home. They do have some playmakers there, Jacobs and Adams, and now you have a quarterback that's had a few games under his belt, so should be getting a little bit more familiar with things there. Um, and I think overall the AFC might be a better conference this year than the NFC. Some of their teams. No, I think it's the holiday season. I'm going to Las Vegas for Christmas, so I'm going to take the Raiders.
All right. Hey, that's a good reason in a game like this. It's really kind of a toss up, but I am going to take the Vikings on the road to cover the 3, and I just think that they can put up the offense and put up the points, and so yeah, I'm gonna go with the Vikings and Dobbs there on the road. All righty, good stuff. Kim's got the Vikings as well. We're on the same page, Kim. Thank you. All right, Seahawks Niners. Man, San Francisco left no doubts last week, beating up on the Philadelphia Eagles because I took the Eagles last week. I thought that was going to be to me, it was going to be a close game, but the Eagles would walk out of it. Out of there with the victory. They couldn't do anything. That was a game where you go home and you take stock in what you're doing with your life because I don't think that the Eagles were competitive in that game, and that's kind of scary going into the last part of the season when because you got to believe these two teams are going to meet each other in the playoffs again, and yeah, that's they got a lot to fix there. I mean, for a team that had only lost one game, so let's not get, we're not saying they're done for the season, but when you got two top teams going up against each other and that are expected to do a lot in the playoffs, this is a game that the winner is going to come out with holding their head high and have a lot of momentum going into the last part of the season and the playoffs. So. But I'm going to take the Seahawks. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to take the 49ers at home against the Sea Chickens, and I think it's going to be fair weather. It's going to be 61 degrees with a 0% chance of precipitation there in Santa Clara.
Yeah, I'm going to take my Niners. I mean, by the way, we've been playing healthy the last couple of weeks. We should win this by about 25 points. And I just think our defense is going to get after Geno, too. I think the Seahawks line's going to struggle a little bit, what we have coming after them. And unless they can make some real big plays, DK had 3 touchdowns last week in the game. So unless they can get a really hot receiver like that for Seattle going, but I just don't think we will give Geno enough time back there to make the plays that he did last week. He's going to have a lot coming after him, and our offense is just dynamic. We have so many people we can get the ball to. McCaffrey had a so-so game. I mean, we really didn't even have to use him that much, to be honest. Last week would seem like kind of the least amount that he had to carry the load, really, because Debo did well. Kittle played really well. Purdy was accurate, which it's all he needs to do is be accurate and not make mistakes. So, yeah, easy 49er one here at home.
Yeah, I think so. All right, still on Sunday games. Bills are going to go visit Kansas City and play the Chiefs. The Chiefs are favored at home by 2.5. Who you got here?
This is always a classic game of, Allen versus Mahomes, and it's really weird because every other time they've played, these teams have been on, like, fire, and either one of them could win the Super Bowl, and one of them has won the Super Bowl a couple times. Both these teams kind of been on the struggle bus, and the teams haven't been as good as they were the last couple years, I'd say, even though the Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year. This season, it's been a little inconsistent, on the field. With that being said, the Chiefs playing in Kansas City, still very good home field advantage. I think Allen is struggling way more than Mahomes is. I know Pacheco punched a guy last week and got kicked out, so I don't know if he's suspended or anything for this game. That might change things up a little bit if I knew that, but I'm still going to take the Chiefs at home. I just think that home field advantage will be enough, and I think Allen is struggling a lot more lately than Mahomes is, and he's on the road. So I'm going to take the home Chiefs by a field goal.
Yeah, it says. Well, it says his status is questionable due to a shoulder.
He threw it out when he threw the punch at the
He,
guy.
he said Pacheco will be held out of Wednesday's practice due to a shoulder contusion.
I hope not.
So, yeah, injury doesn't sound like one that's typically causes. So it looks like he's set to play, and yeah. So who'd you take? I'm sorry, you took
I'm
the
going to
Chiefs.
take the Chiefs at home. That home 3.
Yeah, it's tough not to take the Chiefs. I know they lost this last week. They should have got a pass interference call at the end. I'm not going to argue the Hail Mary, but the one before, the guy was coming over through him. I mean, should have been called. I mean, everyone can argue, well, the roughing the passer shouldn't have been called against. I mean, it's a trade-off, but again, you look at what calls really affected the game. I think that last call absolutely puts Kansas City in a at the 5-yard line to try and do something. Not to say they would have scored, but the chances of them scoring are much higher from the 5-yard line than it was from the 50. So, but it is what it is. I want to take the Bills. I want to, and it's just not smart. It's just not smart football. It's not smart picking to take the Bills. So I'm going to take the Bills, and because that's just the kind of stuff I do. And so Kim's got the Bills, and so 2-1, I automatically win then, and I'll just mark up that victory in my column. Yeah, I don't know who's going to win this game. It'll be a good game. This might be my game of the week. Nah, it's not. I'm looking ahead now. So, next game on the docket is Broncos Chargers. Chargers are at home. Broncos coming to town, or not our town, was your town, kinda. So, but they're going to go to SoFi. They're in LA and play. Broncos are and play the Chargers coming down from their altitude. Broncos are gonna weigh a lot more down here at ocean level, sea level, but run slower. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't know. Do I have to pick? Yeah, I got to pick first. I'm taking the Broncos. I have no faith in the Chargers. I have zero faith in I want to pick the Chargers. I think I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. So, maybe, I don't know, but to do well. And I have no faith in the coaching staff there, and which is why Brandon Staley's on my hot seat. So Broncos are gonna not lose by 3.
I'm going to take the Chargers.
Of course you are.
I think they have to have this win, or else the coach is fired immediately after the game. I say if you lose this game, you're fired immediately after the game, because you're not going to the playoffs anyway. Especially if you lose this game, you don't even have a shot, even if you win out all 4 games. So if you're automatically eliminated for the playoffs, what are you doing? Who cares who the coach is the rest of the season? Make a statement to everybody else that if you don't pick it up, you're gone. So I'm just going to pick the Chargers because I'm saying win or coach is gone immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, I think I might be all right with the loss here just to see coaches go immediately.
Yeah. The players might just throw it if they knew that. Get him out of here.
Right. All right. So this may be the game of the week right here. Sunday night, Eagles and the Cowboys. Philadelphia coming off a tough loss against San Francisco and go down to Dallas and play the boys down there. And the Wait a minute. Hang on. I got to go back. Did you get this right?
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys are favored in this game?
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You lose to the 49ers and what? You're the worst team in the NFL all of a sudden. You'd only lost one game. You've only
Yeah.
lost 2 games all season.
Well, they're 10-2. Dallas is 9-3. I guess they think
But you
that
didn't
home
lose to the
field.
Arizona Cardinals.
That's very true.
That in itself, if you lost to the Arizona Cardinals, who've only won 3 games this year, it's one of your losses. You should never be favored in a game ever. I'm taking the Eagles on the road. That's just stupid. Vegas is
Yeah.
stupid. Whoever came up with this, stupid.
I was surprised when I saw it too because I have the Eagles winning. I actually have a bet because I saw that this was the spread and I have money line on the Eagles winning. Just, I mean, yeah, you've only lost, you lost to the Niners, and yeah, it was a bad loss, but I think that's a wake up call for that team. I mean, how competitive they are and the guys they have on that team. I really think it's going to be a wake up call. And Dak's been playing well, and they got a pretty good team over there at Dallas. But I don't know. I don't see. I know the Cowboys have a good record too. I don't see them being as good as the Eagles. And my 49ers technically need Dallas to win so that 49ers will have the same record as the Eagles, and we would then be in the 1 seed for the playoffs.
Gotcha.
Still 4 games left, but it would help us be the 1 seed and get a bye if the Cowboys can win this game. But I hate the Cowboys, and
Yep.
I'm confident my team will win anywhere, no matter where we're at, or if we have to play a first-round game. I don't really care. I hate the Cowboys, and I don't want to see them win, no matter if it helps my team. We'll figure it out ourselves. We don't need the Cowboys' help. So I'm taking the Eagles to win this game.
Yeah. This to me should have been one of the flex games to put on
Yes.
Monday, but you do have two. Oh, wait a minute. This is a Monday game. No? Yes.
There's 2 games left. It should be. Should have been flexed.
Let me hold, please. Maybe I just didn't do the banner correctly. Oh, yeah, I didn't get the Packers-Giants game in there.
Oh,
Thought I
yeah.
did. I'll get that in there while we talk about this. All right, so I'm going to let you pick.
Yeah, there's
the
2
first
Monday games. There's
Yeah,
2.
there is
So
2 Monday games.
so that's Sunday night's game.
I could have swore. Oh, there it is. It's
Yeah.
when I added the banner, it just put it out of order. So I'm going to drag it down. So why don't you go ahead and Titans are going to go on the road down to Florida, play the Dolphins. Dolphins are favored by 13.5 at home. Who you got here?
Yeah, I think the Dolphins can cover that. They score a ton of points. The Titans don't. The Titans have to pray that Henry has one of his 2 touchdown games and the defense can hold the team down, but you can't hold the Dolphins down. They just score so much and they're so fast and their play calling is so good. And I was in Austin, Texas last week, and I was watching because I don't have HBO at home, but I did in the hotel room, and so I was watching the Miami Dolphins uh, in season Hard Knocks.
Hmm.
And you could just tell I watched a couple episodes. That team is grooving, man. Like, there's no animosity amongst that team. Everyone's on the same page. I mean, it was even, they were showing how thankful they were on Thanksgiving in their different team rooms. And this team's all in together, man. You can tell they feel like they could beat anybody. Um, one of their linebackers went down with an injury, a kid that was having a really good season, and they were all heartbroken for him. And just, I think you could see how close they were in that locker room and in the film rooms, like I said, and everything. And I just feel like the Dolphins are one to watch in the AFC. They could come out of this thing. They could go to the Super Bowl. They have the offense. If their defense can hold just enough, they can definitely score points with anybody when they're clicking. So I'm going to take the Dolphins because I just don't see the Titans can score that many points, and the Dolphins can put up 40 any game.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think once the Dolphins get up a lead, it's gonna be a big struggle for the Titans. They're not built to play comeback football, and Never have. So, yeah, I'm taking the Dolphins at home. I think they'll cover the 13 and a half at home. I mean, we're talking the Titans. Yeah. So, who's not a favorite of mine either. So, anyway, so our second game that I finally found in my list of banners, Packers are going on the road to play the G-Men and New York, and the Packers are favored by 6.5. I don't know what they found in Green Bay, um, but I don't know how I'm shocked they beat the Chiefs last week, and that they're actually starting to groove a little bit, and they're playing better football and scoring more points. I mean, they beat the Lions, they beat the Chiefs, uh, so I don't. I think anybody that's doing that should automatically just say, yeah, they're gonna beat the Giants. Everybody's gonna beat the Giants. 6.5. I'll take the 6.5.
Yeah, I'm taking the Packers too. Love is looking pretty good. Watson, one of their big time receivers, may be out of this game, which will hurt a little bit. But he was throwing the ball to everybody. So I mean, there was 4 or 5 guys catching passes for the Packers. Defense looked pretty good, and then the Giants just not consistent. I mean, Daywell's been on the hot seat on this show a few times this year. You don't know when Barkley's going to show up. Their quarterback situation is garbage too right now. So I'm definitely going to take the Packers there on the upswing. I saw in that Chiefs game they put a stat up that the Packers are the youngest team in the NFL. Their roster age average is 25
Mm,
years old. So looks promising for the Packers as they're 6-6 now. Can't say they're a losing team. They have the same record as Broncos, Bengals, Rams, Seahawks, Vikings. Some of these teams that potential wild card situation teams. So they're right in the hunt kind of for a wild card if they can keep winning games like this. And when you got the Giants on your schedule and things are on an upswing, I mean they got to be feeling pretty good with their chances. They have Tampa Bay and they have the Panthers 2 weeks after this. So if they can run a string of 3 wins in a row, that's 9 wins. They're at 9 wins with a couple games left and maybe a chance to get into a wild card situation. So this is a must win for them. And yeah, I'll easily take them after seeing them beat the Chiefs how they did.
yeah. So what is your game of the week?
It's got to be that Eagles Cowboys one, just because I can't believe that the Cowboys are favored. It's a big division game. Cowboys win. Now they have a tied record to lead the division. And I really want to see if the Eagles can get punched in the mouth and come back and play well too.
Yeah, for me. That's the same thing. That's my game of the week. Yeah, I want to see how the Eagles bounce back. I want to see the Cowboys lose. My Cardinals have got a bye this week, so they will not lose. They absolutely screwed me last week because I'm like, I'm done. I'm done picking my Cardinals. I'm just done. And then they go and pull that crap and beat the 24-10 over the Steelers. It's like, come on. It's like I can't pick they're killing me. And and I'll come back and next week I'll pick them or something, depending on who they play, and they'll screw me over one way or the other. So it just happens when I pick. I've been trying to stay faithful. It's just I'm taking one loss every week, trying to stay faithful to my Cardinals, and then they do that to me anyway. Well, I just want to thank Kim and Jim and Ron and Nathan, everybody that's watching on Rumble. Again, you can watch us on Facebook, you can watch us on YouTube, or Rumble. Rumble's new for us. We've been on there a couple of weeks now, and it's kind of our third option. And Rumble, if you're not familiar, is a lot like YouTube, and just a lot easier to be noticed out there right now on Rumble. So if you have your choice of watching us anywhere and everywhere, but yeah. Typically, most everyone watches on Facebook, but check us out on Rumble as well. And comments all come over, so good stuff. Any last comments for the week, Dave?
No, just holiday season. Everyone enjoy getting your houses ready, doing your holiday festivities, whatever they are, going out and looking at lights, decorating your home, all those things. Enjoy your family, your time with family. enjoy watching some football out there, and it's fun to see the weather getting worse and those guys earning their money out in the cold and the rain and the wet and hopefully the snow pretty soon. If you're from the Pacific Northwest like Chuck and I are, you appreciate it a little bit more than these Arizona people we live around now that have never played in a day of bad weather football in their life. So they don't really understand the difference that it can make to play in bad weather and how every single thing hurts every single play of a game when you're playing and it's 8 degrees and the field is frozen and it's like you're sliding on razor blades and you got so many more cuts and bruises and nicks than you'd ever know because you can't feel anything because you're numb. You're trying to, catch footballs coming at you like lasers with frozen hands,
Yep.
and all those things. Metal hitting your hands, feeling like they're broke every play. So, just appreciate those bad weather games that are coming up. I know I will, and yeah, just enjoy your family, enjoy watching football with them if you can.
Absolutely. Well, that's on behalf of Dave. I wish everyone a fantastic football week. Hope your picks come true, unless they're opposite of mine. And yeah, have a fantastic football week. We'll see you all back here next Wednesday, 7 o'clock. And thanks to Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Cocoa Porter and Dave's Deschutes Brewing
Deschutes.
Cherry Jubilee.
Cherry Jubilee.
So I like Deschutes Brewing. It's a good brewery. So have a fantastic week, everyone, and we'll see you next